Well, here we are at Sandy Neck Beach in Sandwich/Barnstable. Pretty amazing spot. It's pretty cold and it's pretty windy, but I thought it'd be a good spot to do this today. This is Cape Cod Bay. Off in the distance would be Wellfleet and Truro. On a clear day, you might be able to see the Provincetown Monument, the Pilgrim Monument. As we spin around, we come back over, you can see the power plant off in the distance, some of the construction, some folks out walking their dogs. We're going to walk along the high tide line here for a few minutes, and then try to head up a trail into the dunes. Once we're in the dunes, we should be a little bit out of the wind and it should be slightly warmer. So I'm going to talk about stuff that we find. First of all, lots of rocks. Lots of rocks. This is all glacial till left here by the glacier. It was here about 15,000 years ago. And then, of course, there's the now present trash. I did not bring a bag with me today, but usually I bring a bag and pick stuff up and throw it away. But I was I forgot today. I apologize. So, tide is pretty high today. It's coming in. So we're just going to kind of walk along this line and see what kind of neat stuff we can find. Okay, so here's the first kind of cool thing. This little thing that looks kind of like a plant, but it's actually not a plant. This is a type of animal called a hydrozoan or bryozoan. This is a dead one. This is its kind of skeletal remains. It'll be little flowery anemone type objects at the end of that when it's alive. A lot of these have washed up on the beach today. It's a really, really cool colonial animal. Tide is coming in. Here is a good example of one of the bigger algae that we have around here. Kelp. Not a really great piece of kelp, but that is a type of seaweed that most people think about with California, but in fact it likes to grow in cold, well-oxygenated water. So that's why it's here, especially on the Cape Cod Bay side. Here's an interesting little thing. Many of you have probably seen this and picked this up. This is an egg case of a skate. Also called a mermaid's purse or devil's purse. These long black pieces on the end would be attached to seaweed or rocks on the bottom, and inside a baby skate would grow. And if I can see on the end, it's pretty stiff, it splits on the end, and then the baby skate swims out of it. Woo! Bunch of animals that all live together in one space. So these have all washed up on the beach, but each one of those individual strands would be an individual animal that is living with all of the others. Of course, lots of that green seaweed that we know as sea lettuce, called because obviously it looks like lettuce. And it is edible. It's kind of a cool animal. Here's a neat little racweed with some of these little round shells. Those are actually little worms that live on the seaweed, and then they stick out of the end and filter feed, but they're anchored to the seaweed as a way to be able to maintain eating. So we are on Sandy Neck Beach right now. You can see the dunes. I'm trying to get to the first trail so that we can start heading across the dunes and be a little bit warmer. It's pretty chilly out today. Oop. I don't want to get wet, so I'm going to go up this way. The tide's been coming in pretty steadily. Sandy Neck Beach kind of has a special place for me. I've talked a couple times about a teacher I had in high school named Pete Auger. With Pete Auger, we did some studying of diamondback terrapins, which nest and are in the marsh. We tagged some crows to track crows. A couple of things we did in high school was came out and spent weekends on Sandy Neck in a cabin that was available for him and certain students. Those were some of the best weekends I had in high school. There was one particularly cold winter weekend. We had the gas lamps on. In the morning we would go out very early to the lines and we would simply count the animals that we saw. And I saw foxes and raccoons and skunks and white-tailed deer. And I don't think that people are always aware of the amount of wildlife that is here on Sandy Neck. We have crows, we have great horned owls, we have hawks, we have foxes, we have coyotes, we have raccoons. I'm sure that there are probably fishers out here now at this point, and they're left relatively alone, which makes it an appealing place for them to be. I am not going to walk all the way out to the end of Sandy Neck. That is a 6.7 mile hike out there. So that means it would be 6.7 miles back, which would be almost a 13-mile hike. I'm good on that today. So over here we've got the Sandy Neck Ranger trucks putting up ropes because one of the animals that breeds out here is the piping plover. The piping plover, it just nests in little depressions in the sand and lays its eggs. And so the chicks are blend right into the sand. So it's really easy for the eggs or the chicks to get stepped on or crushed. So what they do is they rope all of this off so that we will not bother them. You'll see that it says 3 kind of birds that nest here: the least tern, the common tern, and the piping plovers. I know that some people get annoyed because it takes away from their recreational area, but personally I think all animals deserve a chance at living. One of the things that Sandy Neck is kind of famous for are these dunes. Now we're right at the edge of them. We're coming up to a trail pretty soon. We're going to walk down into the dunes. We need to stay on the trails. That's important because a lot of these plants that you see on the dune are there to keep the dunes intact. Their root system kind of holds the sand in place. Interestingly, the one thing about dunes is that they move, okay? So it's hard to kind of describe because they move so slowly. Humans sometimes have a really difficult time understanding how things work in the natural world because our pace is so fast. We move so fast compared to lots of things in the natural world. For instance, naturalists have known for a while that the areas are getting a little bit warmer incrementally because we pay attention to things like when do pussy willows bud, or when do the first azaleas bloom, or when do the first migratory birds come back, or when are the daffodils starting to pop. And all of those things have been coming a little bit earlier every year. We just tend to pay more attention to that sort of stuff. So one of the things we know about the dunes is that they move like waves. And it's interesting because the sand blows kind of over the top and then deposits on the other side. It just happens very, very slowly. So all these plants are doing are kind of slowing down the progression of the dunes. This is a really cool spot because it's a large dune structure. On the Cape, probably the nearest biggest dune structure like this is in Provincetown. Because it's just sand, it's very susceptible to erosion. When I was in high school, an entire parking lot of Sandy Neck was washed out to sea during one of the major storms. Pieces of that asphalt you can still find mixed in with the rocks. So I found a couple of these down at the beach. This is a dried one. So this is kind of interesting. This kind of neat little lumpy thing. It's soft. I don't know if you can see. My thumb is able to push it and it bends. They're bright orange when they're down near the water. And this is actually a type of animal. This is definitely a dead one. When you find them when they're alive, they're generally orange. And this is a tunicate. Tunicate. And a tunicate is a very primitive animal. One of the things that's very interesting about it is during its development, it has a notochord. Notochord. That is the earliest precursor of a backbone. This animal is what eventually led to us. That's pretty amazing, and I'm finding it on the beach. So this is trail number 1. No vehicles are allowed back here. We have to stay on the trail. So we're going to go up here and we're going to kind of take a look at the dunes, which are beautiful. I have found some amazing stuff back here in the dunes. We're going to see what kind of evidence we can find of animal life, both small and large, and see if we can get a good look-see at the dunes. So we've got this regular grass here, the dune grass. Again, a lot of stuff hasn't really started greening and growing yet because it's a little bit early in the season. Whoa, look at that. Look at how pretty this is. Well, there's some feathers here. Are they attached to a bone? Yeah, that's definitely a clump of feathers. So that animal was consumed by something. Again, lots of predators out here. Great horned owls, coyotes, foxes, all sorts of stuff. So, as we get back down here into the dunes, just look at how pretty it is. I just love this spot. You see that the stuff that is sheltered is able to grow, right? So these bushes are all very fast-growing bushes because as the sand moves, they're going to get buried in the sand, and then they need to move and grow along with it. I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in a little bit. There's a little faint trail there. That trail would probably not be for people. That is probably a trail where white-tailed deer walk. They maintain trails just like people do. Lots of low-lying evergreens, lots of lichen. There's beach plum here, a lot of beach plum. And now we're going to kind of look for tracks of stuff. People do come through and walk their dogs, so we'll probably find a lot of dog tracks, but we might find tracks of other stuff as well. Again, I tend to be an ocean guy, a sea guy, so I don't know the names of all of the plants that we'll find here. But they are pretty common dune plants. This is a beach plum bush that's right here. This will have fruit growing on it at some point. There also used to be some industries out here on Sandy Neck, so it's not uncommon for me to find burnt pieces of coal or metal or glass from some of the stuff that used to be out here. Also, one of the things that happens here is things tend to be on kind of a small scale, right? So sometimes while people are looking for fox tracks or deer tracks, right? What we're able to find are little things, right? Like something was kind of digging and chasing. There's a person, so probably a dog. This is probably a dog chasing something. But along the bushes is where we find little tracks of mice and stuff sometimes. That's kind of a cool spot in the dunes over there. Hey, Miss Mel, how are you? Yeah. Again, a lot of the animals that live in the dunes are crepuscular. That means they're most active at dawn and dusk. There's also a cool snake that likes to live in the sand called a hognose snake. And just like Provincetown, this is one of the areas where hognose snakes like to live and are more common than in other areas. There's been a lot of people walking through here, as you can see, lots of tracks. So some of the stuff is probably kind of hunkered down, but we'll keep looking. The wind has died down like I hoped it would. Like I said, I am a fair weather guy. Not a big fan of the rain or the cold. As always, say it again, the older I get, the more I think we should only live where bananas grow. So we're almost to the other side, and it looks like my battery is going to die. I tried to charge it up fully, but unfortunately the video takes it all up. Not able to find any tracks. I hope that you enjoyed our kind of short visit here at Sandy Neck. Tomorrow I'm going to have a presentation about jellyfish, I think. So you guys have a great day. I'm glad you joined me. I'm sorry it wasn't a little bit longer, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.